Hello, we're back and continuing with your study of the 8 limbs of yoga. So we have, just as a quick review, there are 8 limbs of yoga. You have the yamas and niyamas, the physical practice, asana. Pranayama is breathing. Pratyahara is where you start moving into meditation. You are probably experiencing this now when you've been doing the relaxations, like the face relaxation, the color relaxations. You start to forget about the day and start to move into a more meditative state. And then you start moving into a deeper meditation to reach samadhi. Okay. We are currently in the 2nd limb of yoga, the 3rd niyama is called tapas. Tapas translates into inner fire, grit, self-discipline. It's the self-discipline that you have within you to get up and do what you have to do, no matter how you feel. No matter how you feel, you're going to get up and do what is right. Do what you got to do. So probably in your case, you have to get up and go to school, whether you feel like it or not. You have to do your assignments, do your homework, and you just got to find that inner grit, that inner discipline to get it done, to stick with it. Self-discipline to put yourself to sleep. So it's not only about doing something active, it's about doing something inactive. Do you stay up all night and neglect the fact that your body and your mind needs rest and sleep? You have to have self-discipline to rest. You have to have self-discipline to clean. Remember, one of those niyamas, and a lot of these have to do with having the grit, having the self-discipline to do what is right. Clean the bathroom floor. It's not fun, but it has to be done. So you just have to get some inner fire in you, some grit. This also applies to starting new projects or starting a new routine. Like, for example, eating healthy. It's so easy to let that go, right? Really easy. It's easier to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy. Healthy takes some effort. So you have to have the self-discipline to do it. Yeah, starting new projects, or stopping, like I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to start exercising. You have to have self-discipline. Okay, on your yoga mat, the way it's always been explained to me is each and every day you have to have the self-discipline to practice yoga. Whether it's 10 minutes of practice, 20 minutes, or an hour, even if you do 5 minutes of pranayama, of the breathing, or you do 10 minutes of relaxation, or you combine some physical practice with your breathing and relaxation, that you have the self-discipline each day to go to the yoga mat so that you feel better. I know a lot of you have experienced this where you leave yoga and you feel better. A lot of that has to do with the inner fire and the heat that you create, the self-discipline of removing all the dust and the cobwebs that cover up your inner beauty, your inner divine presence, and you're radiant when you leave the practice. Another way that tapas shows up on a yoga mat is when you hold poses for a long period of time. When you move into a more intermediate or advanced practice, for example, you might hold Warrior One for up to a full minute. And that takes some grit, some inner fire, some self-discipline not to back away. You're able to be in an uncomfortable situation, a yoga pose, for maybe 5 more breaths. And I want to be very clear. When I say uncomfortable, I mean uncomfortable, not painful. Right? I've always told you that if it causes pain, then you back off. But sometimes it's just uncomfortable, or your muscles are a little bit shaky, and you want to quit, and you're right on that edge, and you tap into your tapas, your inner fire, your self-discipline, and you say to yourself, I can be here for 5 more breaths. And then when you start doing that on the mat, it applies to off the mat, and you're able to be in uncomfortable situations for just a little bit longer. And again, when I say uncomfortable, I mean uncomfortable, like okay, I'll use myself as an example. Impatience. If I'm waiting for something and I don't want to be waiting for it, and I'm sitting in the car, for example, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting for someone to come out of the grocery store, and they're not coming out of the grocery store, I can sit with that. And I can be impatient for one more minute, because I've learned to do that on the yoga mat. Waiting for a bus, very boring thing to do. We don't do that too much in Cedar City, but waiting for a bus, being uncomfortable in any normal situation. I just want to make clear, I'm not talking about painful. I'm not talking about painful relationships or abusive relationships. So I don't want you to think that you need to have inner grit and tapas to tolerate something that's painful. Okay, just uncomfortable. Anyways, once you learn to do that on a yoga mat, to hold a pose, to be with something, and create that inner fire and that determination, it comes across in your daily life. And you start to have that inner glow, that radiance, that inner fire. And it shows. It shows in your personality. It shows in your body. I think that's all I have. See you later.